This is why you should never talk to strangers in an elevator. One day, a surgeon was working the night shift at a hospital. He just finished his operation on a patient and was going to the basement. He entered the elevator and there was one other woman already inside. They were casually chatting when the elevator door opened and another woman was about to enter. But the surgeon looked horrified. He quickly slammed the close button and punched the highest floor of the building. Surprised, the woman asked why he was being so rude and wouldn't let the other woman in the elevator with them. The surgeon explained that in this hospital, all patients wear white wristbands with their names printed on them, but the red wristbands are placed on all of the corpses. The surgeon then looks to the woman in the elevator with him and says, "That was the same woman I just operated on. She died on the operating table. Didn't you see the red wristband she was wearing?" The woman in the elevator with him just smiled, raised her arm, and said, "You mean like this one?"
This is part 1 of things that my strict parents didn't let me do, but I somehow found out a way to do it anyway. Or something like it. So growing up, my parents never let me go trick-or-treating because they believe that it's the devil's holiday. They didn't want to participate in any way, so they also put a sign on the front door that says, "Sorry kids, no trick-or-treat." The only thing they allowed me to do in elementary school was wear a costume to school because, I had to go to school, so they felt bad to leave me out. And of course I would beg them every single year if I can go trick-or-treating, but they always said no. One year, I even gathered all the candies in the bottom of my candy drawer and put them in a shoebox and handed them out to people. Stale, nasty candy. I don't even know why they let me do that. And my parents would always let me go on walks on my street, but never on Halloween, just in case. So every single year on November 1st, I would take a walk all the way up and down my street, probably take like 3 laps just to be safe. And I would find candy that kids dropped while they were trick-or-treating on the ground, and I would take them home and I would eat them.
I faked my death? Story time. Growing up, my older brother would never listen to our mom. Like whatever she said, he would do the complete opposite. One day my mom had got us these basketballs and she told us to not play with them in the house. But of course my brother did not listen. So my mom leaves us alone for like 2 seconds and my brother starts throwing his basketball around. And I'm looking at him like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Mind your business, little boy." And I was like, "Mom told us not to play with those in the house." And I guess I was being annoying because he threw his basketball at my head. And it hits me and I fall over, and in my head I'm like, I could do one of 2 things. I could tell my mom and get him in trouble, or I could fake my death. So I pretended that I was dead. And I was sitting on the floor like, and I sat there for a long time and I really tried hard not to breathe or move. So he runs over to me and he's trying to see if I'm okay, and he notices that I'm not moving. And he really thought that I had died. So he starts to cry and freak out. And then it makes me laugh. And then he beat me up. And then I started crying.
Story time. I babysat a lot of kids in my neighborhood, and there was this one night that I was babysitting a 2-year-old. It was around 10 o'clock at night, so the kid was sleeping, and I was just sitting in the living room. In the living room, there was a big TV, a couch, and then behind me, it was a wall with a giant window. So it was really late at night, I had nothing to do, so I was Snapchatting my friends. If you Snapchat anybody, I'm sure you know that sometimes you Snapchat really fast. You don't even know or look at what you're sending. I was mass snapping all my friends, and then one of them replied 10 minutes later. And he said, "Who's that guy behind you?" And I turned around and no one was there, so I'm like, he's playing a joke on me. But then I get another Snapchat from this friend I had, and she lives all the way across the country. They don't know each other. And she said, "I think there's someone outside." So I was really freaked out because I was alone. There was a giant window behind me. Apparently there was someone outside. I wasn't gonna call the child's parents because I didn't want to freak them out, but I was scared. So then I went around the house, locked all of the doors. Sorry, it's a really long story, like for part 2.